Yes, what's happening, folks? Welcome back to the channel. As a starting 11 prediction for tomorrow's Friday night football at Celtic Park, we face Falkirk in the last 16 of the Premier Sports Cup. We're obviously defending the trophy that we won at Hampden in that penalty shootout against Rangers last season. We faced Falkirk in this competition. I think it was actually at the same stage last season as well. It was a 5-2 win in the end, but that was a really awkward game for us. Brendan Rodgers had made a lot of changes to the lineup. Falkirk came, played quite expansive football, and they played pretty well. They went ahead in the game, and it was relatively difficult for us. I think we trailed them in the second half. It was at 2-2, and then a quick fire Adam Ida double off the bench sort of got us out of trouble. So Falkirk have started the season with one draw and one defeat, the 2-2 draw in their opening game against Dundee United at their place, and then they lost 3-1 to Livingston last weekend. So a bit indifferent for them so far on the return to the Scottish Premiership, but we know that they can make things awkward for you. And I think maybe last season's game will be in Brendan Rodgers' mind in terms of the number of changes that he made for that, and whether he wants to go a bit stronger this time around, and just make sure that we get safe passage through to the next round, without the sort of hiccups that we had in that game last season. We also do have the luxury of this being on Friday night, so we've got the Champions League game on Wednesday, which I'll come back to in a minute, but that buffer of the extra day or two, this game could easily be on Sunday, for example. So I think getting on the Friday night means that Brendan Rodgers might go with a slightly stronger 11, and then you'd expect changes through the game, maybe halfway through the second half, even early in the second half if we've got a commanding lead. Then he can make the changes and bring the key players off that we can't afford to risk ahead of that playoff tie. Now let's turn our attention to that playoff tie for a minute, because we will face Kairat Almaty of Kazakhstan. It'll be the fourth time that Celtic have gone to Kazakhstan on Champions League qualifying duty. It hasn't happened since 2017 in that tie against Astana. So they came through against Slovan. They won the first leg 1-0. Slovan Bratislava won the second leg 1-0, and it went to a penalty shootout, and they prevailed 4-3 in the end, despite going behind in the shootout as well. So I think there's a prevailing sense that this tie is quote unquote easy for Celtic. I think we've got to really make the most of that first leg at Celtic Park, because it's a hell of a long journey going over there to Kazakhstan, and you never know with these teams. Think about that Astana tie. We were 5-0 up from the first leg. I think we were 1-0 up at half time in the second leg of that tie, and we lost, I think, was it 3 goals? We lost 3 goals in the second half, and all of a sudden, from being 6-0 up in aggregate, there even appeared a bit of doubt for a period of that game as well. So we've got to be careful. We can't underestimate any of these teams. I think the fact that they're unknown quantities can sometimes cause you problems, and if you take it too lightly or get complacent, which I don't think obviously the team will do, but I think there's a sense in the fan base that we've got off lightly and this is an easy tie for us. Let's hope it turns out that way, but that first leg at Celtic Park will be a huge opportunity for us to take a commanding lead, and hopefully we can get the tie in a position where the second leg just has to be managed and the game's not in the balance, because the second leg will be a few days before that first derby at Ibrox as well. We'll have a 6-hour flight back or more to Glasgow, so we don't want that second leg to have too much riding on it. It'd be nice if we could take a 3-4-0 lead. But like I say, you never know in these ties, and that Astana game is a prime example where if you lose 2 or 3 goals in a flurry, then you can be in trouble regardless of the scoreline. But looking forward to that game next week. First up, it is this tie against Falkirk, coming off the back of that win at Pittodrie, which I think was a really good win for us. I think you can tell we're not anywhere near top gear. I don't think we started the game brilliantly, but I thought as games go at Pittodrie, we handled it really well. It was really comfortable. We controlled the ball well. I think at times Aberdeen are trying to make it a real battle, and they've got Shinnie and Nielsen in midfield who, like, their sole purpose is to just destroy and foul and interrupt Celtic's play, and they try and make it physical. And I thought midway through the first half we eventually stood up to that. which was nice to see, as well as a brilliant roar for the crowd after those two 50-50 challenges by McGregor and then Alistair Johnston as well. So we showed a bit of grit, we showed a bit of determination, and we had more than enough quality to win the game. We will get better, but I think overall, going to Pittodrie second week of the season with all the noise off the pitch, all the, I suppose, the holes in the squad as well, I think is a really good outing for us on Sunday, and nice to start with 2 wins. So let's turn our attention then to the 11 that Brendan Rodgers might play tomorrow. As always, the first time that we're in the League Cup in a season is the most difficult game to try and gauge the team, to try and guess the team that Brendan Rodgers will put out tomorrow. Like I say, this time last season against Falkirk, we made wholesale changes. I think 7 or 8 changes to the lineup. I got it miles wrong. We'll see how far I get it wrong for this one, but I need to remind you, I did get the team right at the weekend, so we are going for 2-2. In goals, I would like to see Sinisalo come in. Now, I know this is about what I think Brendan Rodgers will do, and I'm going to put him in because I think Brendan Rodgers might give him the nod. I think what Sinisalo showed us towards the back end of last season was he's more than capable of stepping in. He didn't get a lot of games. Didn't get any games really before Schmeichel got injured last season. So I think these early League Cup rounds are great opportunities to give Sinisalo some game time. I think he deserves it. I think he's earned it. And at this stage of Casper's career, I know he wants to play as much as he can, but I think Sinisalo deserves a run out tomorrow, and it'll be interesting to see what Brendan Rodgers does in the goalkeeping department. Back four is Johnston, Carter Vickers, Scales, and Tierney. Now, I'm really unsure about that because we know that Kieran Tierney's building up in terms of getting used to playing so much football again. He came off a cramp the first game. Brendan Rodgers said that he had a bug at the weekend and he was sick in the dressing room at half time. So not the most plain sailing of starts, but I thought he was brilliant on Sunday, to be fair. I thought his assist for the first goal was superb. You just see the value of that power that he's got to just explode by the Aberdeen winger out wide, beat his man and pick out a cross for Nygren. It's so simple, yet so effective. It's something that I don't think wide players, let alone fullbacks, do enough of in this day and age, is get their man one-on-one out wide, beat them on the outside, and pick out somebody with a cross. I thought it was brilliant. I thought he was good for the 60-65 minutes that he played, Kieran Tierney. This is the prime example of a game where if we had another left-back to rely on, I would think he would definitely play tomorrow. Whether it's going to be Scales at left-back and Trusty coming in at centre-half, I don't know. I think it's poor really to have to shoehorn Liam Scales in at left back to give Tierney a rest if we think that he needs it. If the manager and the coaching staff thinks that because we've got this Champions League tie coming up, and this is sort of the beginning of the 2 games a week, then it might be a great opportunity to just pick and choose with Kieran when he plays. But don't really think we've got that luxury because we don't have any other left backs. Like I say, we could throw Scales out there, but I think from the start, it's maybe not. You can maybe cope with it for 15-20 minutes towards the end of a game, but I think starting with Scales at left back, it's just not ideal at all. So I'm going to go with Tierney to start. That's an unchanged back four. There might be more changes in it. I just think with the Friday kick-off, gives Brendan Rodgers that extra day, and I think he will go a bit stronger with this team. Midfield, McGregor, Hatate, Nygren. Now, this is an area of the pitch where we've got so many options. You could argue we could give Nygren a rest and bring in McCowan or bring in Engels. We haven't seen any of Bernardo so far this season either. Maybe Vio could sit out in preparation for that Champions League qualifier, but I still think it's early days in the season. I think talking about that Livingston game next weekend, where Brendan Rodgers said it's early in the season, we didn't want to take the option to postpone the game. I think that's because we're still building up sharpness, we're still building up to full speed. So I think again that might be a factor in Brendan Rodgers just keeping some continuity. And I think because Nygren is new to the club, the more minutes he can get in the team and in that midfield to get used to McGregor and Hatate and get used to the patterns, the better. So I think he might keep the midfield unchanged. I thought Nygren was very good at the weekend. I think you can see his qualities. I think you can tell he is going to be a player from minute one really in pre-season. You can tell that he's a good player technically, the way he receives the ball. I think at the weekend he was receiving it on his back foot and rolling some Aberdeen midfielders. He done it time and time again. Brilliant control of the ball, sort of glides, he can change direction, lovely passer of the ball, and he can score you a goal. So I think Negan's going to do well for us, and I think Sunday was a much, much better performance than the previous week against St Mirren for his debut. Now, front three, I have to put Forrest on the right-hand side because, again, we're left without any real option. Could it be Yang? Possibly, but I can't sit here and say that Yang should start a game. Certainly not tomorrow. I think where we're at out wide, it makes it the weakest point of the squad, as we've talked about at length. So I'm going to go James A again. I thought, without being brilliant again on Sunday, I think you can tell that the difference between him and Yang is so stark. He's so much more positive. He's so much more sure on the ball. His touches are better. His passes are better. He provides a much more potent threat for the opposition as well. I just think you need to start Forrest as it is. It doesn't look like we're going to get any wingers in soon. Doesn't look like we're going to get any players in soon. There's still a total lack of rumours and links and stories about transfer bids in terms of Celtic bringing players to the club. So it looks like we're going to have to soldier on for the next week to 10 days at least with the current wide options that we've got. But that means it has to be Forrest on the right-hand side. I'm going Dyson on the left again. And I would like to see Brendan Rodgers start Shin Yamada through the middle. I think we're not going to see anything new from Ida in this game tomorrow. I think a home game and a cup tie against Falkirk, I think it makes a nice opportunity for Shin Yamada to get a full start and a full competitive start for Celtic. He came off the bench at Aberdeen, wasn't really involved too much. He'd a run down the left-hand side, a couple of touches didn't come off for him, but I'd like to see him from the start so we can start to judge where he's at. Could Johnny Kenny get a start? Possibly. I just don't think there's anything to be gained in starting Adam Ida in this game. I think that is an area of the pitch that Brendan Rodgers could easily rotate and we can see something new and see how someone like Yamada is going to fit in with the squad. Again, it's similar to Nygren in terms of a new player getting used to how the team plays and the patterns and the runs that he has to make. Be nice to see Yamada get a start. Dyson on the left-hand side, I thought, had his shoelaces tied together at the weekend. We have entered the phase of the transfer window where the rumours are just starting to pick up about Dyson Maeda and whether he will be a Celtic player by the end of the month. The talk is that Brentford are interested. There's a whole domino effect going on here because I think if Alexander Isak goes to Liverpool from Newcastle and Newcastle sign Visa from Brentford, then that could be the move that triggers Brentford's pursuit of Dyson Maeda. But we'll just wait and see. I don't think he's had a brilliant start to the season, but again, like I say, there's always going to be that natural come down from the heights that he reached last season. It would be a huge player to lose for us. It'd be a huge blow, and thinking about the wide options that we've got and where that's at for us just now, it's unthinkable really to lose Dyson Maeda in the last couple of weeks of this window, but we'll keep tabs on it, see how it goes. That's 11 I think Brendan Rodgers might pick for the game tomorrow. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Do you think there'll be more changes in that? Do you think there should be more changes in that with the Champions League playoff tie on the horizon on Wednesday night? Let us know in the comments. Please like the video. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. And I will see you on the next video. Thank you.